Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash, the born and spent through the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well and taught us His 100% truth. Much peace and blessings be unto you, hopeful, elected to push not this word of thought, truth, and sincerity. To all you Akamadu say Shalom. I'm the Akara. I'm coming in with a quick hit going into this book entitled From Babylon to Timbuktu, A History of Ancient Black Races, including the Black Hebrews by Rudolph R. Windsor, and it was designed by El Hagan. Now, Yakim have recommended this book. It's a good supplement to have with the scriptures. Now, I've had this book for a very long time, but I just started rereading it again last night, and I thought I'd do a lesson on it. So, Chapter 1, Ancient Black Civilization. So, this is going to be like a quick read along, and, just filtering out the speech with the scriptures. So, reason to say, more than 6,000 years ago, in a land called Mesopotamia, there developed the most remarkable civilization then known to mankind. Now, remarkable civilization, not singular, but more so was a culmination of various empires or various civilizations which sprang up, within a certain time frame. All right, that's what we refer to as a cradle of civilization. All those civilizations had a role to play in influencing the modern world. All right, Esau calls that region as or those civilizations as the many firsts, if you will. All right, like first writing system, things of that sort. But when it comes to civilization, we know it is not the beginning of civilization because there is actually civilization prior to the flood. All right, that's what's referred to as the antediluvian civilization. Right before the flood, before the great flood. All right, or else I'll make the scriptures be in effect. But, the scriptures, what's it called, to tell the garden. All right, that's when you have nations with their own ways. What's it called? The genealogy, leading up to Abraham. It's like leading up to Noah. What's it called? Noah, was literally before the flood, and there was people right there. The Lord didn't, cause a big flood to wipe out most of humanity, for nothing. This humanity is going to be freaking civilization, society. They're not going to be, living in little makeshift twig, shelters, like you see in these survival challenges. They definitely build houses. I mean, they had knowledge on building stuff. That's why Noah was able to craft that big old ark. Yeah, you're supposed to apply critical thinking to this truth as well. So obviously there is civilization back then. But continuing on, this civilization was centered between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. These rivers began in the mountains of Armenia and flow in a southeastern direction towards the Persian Gulf. The soil of this area is tremendously fertile because of the alluvial deposits brought down by the two rivers. Now, as of right now, if I'm mistaken, Mesopotamia, that region, it's not as fertile as it once was. It lost its glamour, its vigor, its strength, right? She lost her fertility, but it will come back. All right, but that's an example of desiccation. So I'm reading a different textbook called World History, and in chapter 2 on Mesopotamian civilization 2.13, in the second paragraph at the end, it reads, however, environmental change was leading to the desiccation or drawing out of areas not adjacent to the Nile River, and by 5000 BCE it was no longer possible to farm much beyond the floodplain of the Nile River. Now let's go into Africa, northern Africa. Which a part of northern Africa, which is the Nile part in what's now Egypt. It's technically part of the Fertile Crescent. The Fertile Crescent is supposed to be the most fertile plot of land on the entire planet Earth. So she's supposed to yield her strength tremendously, but that ain't the case right now. It's all dry, dead, right? And frankly, there's a lot of war going on over there. With the heathen. But we know her strength will come back. All right, she will be fertile once more again in the kingdom. An example of that desiccation was the book of Genesis, the 13th chapter, though, when it goes in Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, because, hey, you look at Sodom and Gomorrah right now, you know, that does not look like a pleasing place to freaking live, man. Like you would not want to live there right now. Back in the ancient realm, it looked nice, you know. So, Genesis, the 13th chapter, verse 10 does read, and Lot lifted up his eyes. And if I'm mistaken for a bit of context, this is one to when Abraham, known as Abram at the time, you know, was dividing land allotments with his nephew Lot, which is, you know, a progenitor of the ancient nations. You know, what's it called? Moab and Ammon came out of him. Which, if I'm mistaken, Ammon, you know, was named Ben-Ami. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it goes on to say, and Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered. How that place don't look well watered right now, man. It looks ugly as hell. Well watered before the Lord destroys Sodom and Gomorrah, even as a garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest in the Zoar. You know, so hey, the land looked beautiful, man. All right. Now the Middle East don't look that promising anymore, but trust me, in the kingdom, when it comes to rejuvenation, what's it called? A revival, a refreshment. Best believe the Fertile Crescent, which was promised unto us, what's it called? You know, give us abundant crops. All right, that's one of the blessings. You know, she will heal their strength again, man. She will heal their strength again. So this is the book of Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter, and going to the blessings, verse 1. And if thou shalt come to pass, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy power, Yahweh, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy power will set thee on high above all nations on the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power. Now, you could go in on this, but I'm gonna jump to the point on, and I believe it was 11. And it reads, and the Lord Yahweh shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord Yahweh swore unto thy fathers to give thee. You know, which was it called? The whole expansion pack we're gonna get. It's the entirety of the Fertile Crescent. Again, what's it called? Including parts of Egypt. You know, half like Saudi Arabia, right? The entirety of Mesopotamia as a region, not just those small borders. You know, the hub of Israel will be way bigger than that. You know, what's it called? And to be frank, we're going to be a nation of multitude. We're going to be, you know, as innumerable as the stars of heaven, the sand of the sea. You know, you think what's it called? Several million Israelites will fit in that small plot of land. What's it called? As time goes on, no. You know, they're gonna have to expand. You know, what's it called? Those palaces ain't gonna be freaking small little shacks like you see right now. No, you're gonna have actual freaking mansions, man. Yeah, freaking palaces like huge estates, man. Huge estates. That means you have huge backyards, man. That whole backyard is yours. You're individual. Right? So, you know, best believe freaking we're gonna be spreading out, man. Taking up space. Not being all cramped and compact like the heathen are today. But I digress. Back to the book. So the soil of the area is tremendously fertile because of the alluvial deposits brought down by the two rivers. European civilization developed from ancient black civilization. That is correct. All right, because all nations have melanin. You know, all nations have pigment. You know, this damn devil don't. He lacks melanin because what's it called? It goes back to that mark of leprosy guy. You know, what's it called? Where he comes out pale as what's it called? Paper. Freaking red as a pepper. You know, Genesis the 25th chapter, verse 25. It does read how and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Red, very. And in the NLT, the New Living Translation, it does read the first one was very red at birth and covered with thick hair like a fur coat. So they named him Esau because what's it called? I mean, it's red. If I'm mistaken, what's it called? Red. You know, now what's it called? The scriptures going to ruddy. It really means young and beautiful. But if you're actually what's it called to look at the skin color ruddy, it's a reddish little hue, a reddish hue, while still maintaining dark complexion. You know, you can't just be very red at birth while having a dark complexion, no, because what's it called? Pigment tends to hide your blood. You know, this mofo, what's it called? Blood was see through the whole time. Meaning, what's it called? He liked it. He liked melanin, and what's it called? That's the progenitor of what's it called? The Edomite race. You know, so-called white race. Really, he ain't white, but freaking red. I mean, white represents purity. Like he's devoid of all things pure and righteous and good. Like, this guy's a freaking clown, a freaking liar. But it was going to say European civilization developed from ancient black civilization. Correct. Or so-called black because really shades of brown. Without this black civilization, white domination and influence as we know it today would have been improbable. A number of different tribes were entrenched in the southern part of the Tigris-Euphrates region. This southern section was known at different times by many names, among which are Sumer, Akkad, and Chaldea, but the name best known to us is Babylonia. You know, now going back to Mesopotamia, as for that name Mesopotamia, that term wasn't coined about until Hellenism, you know, by way of the Greeks. You know, where they either gave names or renamed other locations. You know, like the Gihon River, also spelled as Gihon with an H. You know, which what's it called? If I'm mistaken, it was book one of the Antiquities of the Jews by Flavius Josephus, which Flavius Josephus was an Israelite historian. But just because he was an Israelite does not mean this guy was actually, you know, factually correct. This guy was a freaking, you know, this guy has a lot of errors in his text, right? You know, he didn't have the truth. But what's it called? This guy did make the mention about how the Greeks did change the name of the Gihon River to the Nile. You know, so there was that, and they also gave, in this case they didn't rename, but gave name to the entirety of the region of what's now Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia meaning a land between the rivers. All right, because going back in the ancient Rome, they didn't have a universal name to go off by the entire region. more so those smaller parts within the region. So, like again, it says many names among what main. So like this southern section, southern Mesopotamia, was known at different times by many names, among which are Sumer, Akkad, and Chaldea. The name best known to them was Babylonia. You know, so it wasn't like, what's it called, referring to the region of the Levant as a Levant. You know, they more so they refer to smaller plots within that whole realm, you know, by the name of the civilization. You know, there is no concept of the title Mesopotamia. And even what's it called in the scriptures when it goes into Mesopotamia, it translates to the Hebrew word Aram Nahariim. Aram Nahariim, going to Aram of the two rivers. But even within that, what's it called? Aram, geographically speaking, mostly dwelt in northern Mesopotamia. That was the northern part. And same thing with Assyria. They didn't refer to what's it called Mesopotamia, but they refer to Assyria, a part within Mesopotamia. Just to clarify that. This area was a location of the Garden of Eden. People of the region were jet black. I'm mistaken. The apostles made the mention Atlantic Garden of Eden. What's it called? Yes, it's in the Fertile Crescent. I'm mistaken. It's where Israel was at. Correct me if I'm wrong, Akim. You know, what's it called? I don't want to go off. But yes, it was in the Fertile Crescent. The area was also the location of the Garden of Eden. The people of this region were jet black. What's it called? And you got Ham do look like purple. You know, Ham does look purple. But what's it called again? You know, nations, you know, they all stem in the shades of brown. Okay. But, yeah, I'm gonna end it off right there. Just a little quick head going into it. And, you know, Lord will do another lesson on it. And Lord was an F on this until the next one. I do say shalom.